Visual Studio crashed. Wow. That's one way to get things started. Oh boy. Okay, let's just let Visual Studio fix its shit again. This would be a very short game dev stream if I was just in a loop of Visual Studio opening and crashing itself over and over again. This would be kind of funny. Actually, not all that funny. I'd find it funny, but in sort of like a Pagliacci, the great clown, sort of funny. Okay, cool. So we got our shit set up. Last time I worked on this game, my birthday stream, wow! It's Labor Day and birthday stream, and I chose to stream probably the most boring topic I could think of, but welcome to game dev. And did my internet cut out too? Oh boy, what a start. Okay, it's some YouTube ad. Alright, so the music died for 1 second, but it'll come back. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling pretty retro tonight, so I decided I wanted to go with the Chrono Trigger Ost, a soundtrack that I haven't listened to in an extremely long time. A ridiculously long time, maybe, are the terms? Not entirely sure. Okay, well, they kinda... the main thing got a little bit messed up. Okay, that was weird. Okay, it looks like the streams are still alive, so my internet didn't die. So I got that going for me. Okay, what a powerful start. Really feeling like this has been some really good omens. The music dying, Visual Studio crashing. Let's go for it. Okay. So I have been pretty busy on this actually, because I tried to do something that as far as I can tell, nobody has ever actually done this with the Unreal Engine. At least I don't think they've done it to the extent of success that I have. In that, I have figured out how to write automated tests without needing to use the editor for it. So, I can write everything in C++. Now, what's great about that is I don't need to test in the editor, which is really, really, really slow because I have to boot up the editor. I have to compile the code for the editor. I then have to start the editor up. I then need to press the play button in the editor to test the game. I don't need to do that anymore. I can do it all through C++, and in the lower right corner here, you can see I've written 18 tests so far. That number is probably going to go up to around 200 to 300 by the time I'm done with this project, so we got a long ways to go. But if I'm testing any code to make sure that it's, I'm catching all the errors, everything that goes wrong, I just press this beautiful little green arrow, this golden little button, and it runs all of my tests in 2 seconds, as opposed to the old way of doing things where we were looking at, testing one feature was like a 20-minute thing. And now I can bang this shit out over the course of 3 to 5 minutes to get a new feature. So I'm super ecstatic for this. I'm actually going to be able to finish this project at some point in my lifetime as a result of that. And you all get to watch me do what is comparatively probably a very boring process. But this is going to be really... the cool thing about this, and the way that I'm going to be doing this from now on, is that this is exactly the same way that I code at work. And you can see exactly what it's like to be a professional programmer, for better or worse. With that all said, let's get this going. So I knew that my tests were broken because I stopped like 2 hours ago after I kind of got to a certain good stopping point, and then I played Ring Fit Adventure. So let's figure out why this is currently broken. Okay, so I have some test code, prompt hack, loading, driver test. Okay, yeah. I'll also lay out what the goals are for today. So with the game, I want it to be a place that people can download. This is a Jackbox type game. There are a lot of prompts, and it's sort of like Drawful. So people are given prompts that they need to draw, and I want people to extend the game with their own custom prompts. And so I'm calling those a prompt pack. And the goal for tonight is I want to really kind of refine the process of loading prompts from your hard drive, putting them into the game, enabling them, and doing all sorts of good work. So that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight. We might be able to get into some UI stuff if stuff goes really fast. But for now, it's going to probably just be pure C++ tonight. So with all that said, I'm also feeling super energetic and talkative tonight, which is conducive for streaming. But that's because Ring Fit Adventure plus Shower immediately woke me up. It's a really fun game. Okay, so I have a bug in prompt pack loading driver test. So let's pull that code up. So I have a class. Where is it hiding? Prompts under prompt runtime. I have a class called prompt pack loading driver, and it is pretty straightforward. You give it a list of enabled prompt packs, and it puts them into a prompt picker, and that's the class that like randomly picks prompts for people to draw. So we're gonna need to write some unit tests for this. So I've already written out the logic here, and now we need to write the code that tests the code. So I'm gonna pull this off to the side. This is gonna go on my other monitor so I can keep my eye on it, but you can't, so that'll be my little secret. And let's start banging out some unit test code. So first I'm going to clear out this file, because I just copied and pasted this over. Oh god, somebody monetized their Chrono Trigger OST upload? Oh fuck that. Oh no! I'm gonna get my Chrono Trigger OST interrupted constantly by hearing like people be like, I made $10,000 in the stock market. Oh well. I'll see if it does that again. If it does, then we'll listen to a different soundtrack. Okay, so let's start off by including the test code that I need. So I just have this header file full of some some boilerplate test stuff that I always need to use. And then we need to pull in the prompt pack loading driver header. We'll put this into an anonymous namespace. And then let me check something. Prompt pack loading driver. So we need to fake these 4 things to do my tests. So I'm just gonna pull them over here. And I'm gonna comment it out. It's not, this is just a way for me to, it's actually for your benefit, I guess, if you're watching this, so you can see like what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I would normally just pull that file into like a side monitor, but I'm not gonna do that for right now. So we have these 4 classes that are used in this guy. So I need to make versions of those. So we're gonna create prompt pack loader mock, and this is gonna inherit from the prompt pack loader class. And we'll see what the hell that all means shortly. And then we're gonna have prompt picker mock, which also inherits from prompt pickers. So these are going to be really cool classes. I'm very excited to show this stuff off, because like I said, nobody does their Unreal Dev this way. It's completely unique. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly do a little bit more setup code here. Great. Next, I'm gonna create initializer fobs. I'm just gonna call it that. I'm gonna create, so I need 1 of these and 3 of these. So we're gonna need a couple of object initializers, so we'll do that. static prompt pack loader mock. I'm gonna flip the name around, so this is the variable. And that needs a initializer. This is just like an Unreal thing that they use for all their classes. I'm gonna call this 2, 3, and 4. 3, 4. I don't really know what this does, I just know that it works. Okay. Okay, so this I'm gonna call situation prompt or mock mock situation prompt picker. Okay. God, I haven't listened to the soundtrack in so long. Okay, and then we need the final boss. Boop. Okay, so we have all of our dependencies laid out here. Next up, I need to create I'm gonna close that. I need to create a version of prompt pack loading driver, which is the thing that we're actually going to be testing, so that I can, you know, test it. I'm gonna also pull in some more dependencies here, so we need prompt picker.h and then prompt picker loader. I'll do that. Include prompt picker loader.h. Okay. That's driver test. Okay. And boop. 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 Okay, almost done with a lot of the boilerplate type stuff. This is just still some nice, good old-fashioned setting everything up code. Okay. Create another object initializer. Okay, there we are. There's the good shit. Okay. Now that I have everything set up, I'm also going to do one more thing, where I come in here and we go to prompt pack loading driver. So we have all these guys. I deleted them earlier. I'm gonna pull them. I'm gonna paste them back in. Just because it'll be quick. And we're gonna just start setting all these variables to various things. Namely, I'm gonna wire in all this stuff that I made up here. So prompt pack loader. Prompt pack loader. Situation prompt picker. Mock situation prompt picker. Disaster prompt picker. Okay. And then final. Done. Okay. So all of the boilerplate stuff is taken care of. Let's start writing a automated test. Actually, real quick, I'm just gonna go ahead and run my unit test as is without writing any new ones. I'm just gonna do this so that I can check what syntax errors I still have. So under prompt pack loading driver, it's CPP. I have a error, which is I'm missing a semicolon on line 23. This is weird. Why am I getting... Okay. I don't know why it's expecting a semicolon there. Cool. So, the first bug for the night, and I don't really know what it's complaining about. Okay, cool. Syntax error... Oh, hang on, I'm looking in the wrong place. Prompt pack loader.h. Okay. Gatto's theme. Cool. Prompt pack loader.h. On line 23. That was prompt picker loader. I need... Where the hell is it hiding? Oh, it's under prompt files. Okay. Prompt pack loader. On line 23... Prompt pack loader, line 23, missing, Sounds a little weird. Music It's like a weird little clip thing. Okay, so it's saying I'm missing this thing before this pointer, and the reason for that is actually probably pretty straightforward in that I'm depending on this thing called an iFile manager, and I don't actually have that included, so I need to look up what that's called. Okay, so we're gonna go to the documentation real quick. I'm gonna do it in Firefox because there's a reason I don't normally use the Firefox browser. I use it during game dev because this way you don't, it won't accidentally like load in and display my passwords on the screen or some shit. Do all the coding before making art assets. Yes, that's generally the way that I do things. Okay. So we pull down File Manager from HAL, which I believe stands for Highly Abstract Library. I don't actually know what HAL stands for. Okay. Does the code have to be pointed at a specific file type and receive input to test if the code works? Yeah, I'll be able to fake all that stuff. It'll be really, really cool. So I'll be able to simulate people interacting with the code. It'll be awesome. Okay. Prompt pack loading driver. So that did fix that issue. Let's go back to prompt pack loading driver. On line 27, situation final boss picker is an undeclared identifier because this should just be called final boss picker. That's a copy and paste error. Okay, that does sound awesome. Believe me, it sounds way more awesome than how it's probably going to look, because it's just going to be a bunch of text. When I say this is C++ Night, I mean that this is C++ Night. Okay, final boss picker is... Okay, so this is probably final boss prompt picker. I should just look it up, because that's what a professional would do. Not this guy, though. I will just guess instead and get it right purely by luck. Okay, we've done that. We'll go to prompt pack loader test now. Okay, so I type of that, put the 2 in the right spot. Okay. Can't convert from prompt picker loader mock to prompt picker mock. Why? Okay, this is on line 25. Prompt picker. Oh, okay. So I'm making instances the wrong type, so I just need to fix that. You get the matrixness of it. It's just a command prompt type shit. Exactly. That's so you're dead on. You're 100% accurate in what this is going to look like. It's going to look like, until I start making the art assets, this game is purely text-based. And then what happens is that the game and the user interface will become like a graphical shell around it. But all that it does is just call into the code that I've written. But underneath it, it's purely like a command prompt, like text interface type thing. It's 100% the way that it'll work. Okay, so on line 32, base class is undefined for prompt pack loading driver. Okay. Because I did not make this public, and this also needs to be a U. Alright. Okay, everything succeeded. Let's go ahead and start writing our first test. So we have, we're gonna just call this prompt pack loading driver test. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to simulate the process of loading the user's prompt packs and then putting them into the random pickers of prompts, which I've called the prompt pickers. So that is pretty straightforward. This is a very small class. This is, you know, it's under 30 lines of code. This will be super fast to test. So let's go for it. So under prompt picker loader, I'm going to declare that I'm going to be mocking a method. And then what's the method that I'm mocking? It's called load prompt packs. Okay, prompt picker loader. Let's just quickly look at the interface for that. Okay, this is the name of the method. Load prompt packs. So we go into my my test code. We say I want to do what's called a mock method, meaning that I can then write code where instead of this class, instead of this method actually being called, I can have it do whatever I want. So we'll see what that ends up looking like pretty shortly, but I've set that up so it's now, you know, it's now mockable. And then, do I do anything else with any of my dependencies? So I just transform the prompt packs and then I put it into that. Okay, cool. This is going to be extremely straightforward then. So let's give this test a name. We're just going to call it, well, the game, we're going to call it test load. That's fine. That's the name of the method, so we'll just call it test load. Okay, I'm going to expect call. So I'm gonna assume that this guy gets called 3 times. And we're going to do this in a pretty cool way. How should I do it? For now, let me go ahead and pull in some more code. I'm just gonna grab this guy. Okay, so we're gonna expect that the mock that I have here, I'm gonna expect that we call load prompt packs. I'm going to do an underscore here, which means that I'm going to ignore what the actual parameter was, and I can just assume that I can fill that in later. But for now, I'm gonna say I expect that this code is going to load in at least once and only once. It's going to load in the situation stuff. It's going to load in the disaster stuff. And it's going to load in the final boss stuff. Super straightforward. So then I've done that. So then we say prompt pack loading driver, and I'm just going to call the load method. And it requires 3 sets. I'm going to change these to arrays instead of sets. And I would explain why, but I don't think anyone's going to care. So arrays they are, and tough shit to anyone who is a big believer in sets and, you know, feels like I'm bullying them. Okay. So let's just go with this for right now, and then I will beat this up with some more cool stuff in a second. So we're going to say we have 3 arrays of metadata for prompt packs. Just quickly explain what's interesting about a prompt pack metadata. So this is just the name of the custom pack that a player created, as well as the path on the hard drive to that. And then there are tags associated with it, which aren't very important right now, but that's just another piece of data that's contained with them. So I'll say that this is the enabled situation packs. I'm gonna create 3 of these. All right. Enabled situation. I'm gonna call this enabled disaster and enabled final boss. Okay, and then we call this method with these 3 guys. You'll notice that my Visual Studio is gone completely fucking haywire, and it thinks that everything that I'm writing is wrong, and it's giving me nothing but red squiggly lines. I've learned to ignore that, and I don't really have any choice. My eyes just kind of gloss over it. I'm assuming it's probably very annoying for most people, though. Okay, so we have prop pack metadata. I have my 3 sets here, and we do that. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this code now. All right, we have some issues. Cannot convert argument 1 prop pack metadata to set of prop pack metadata. Why is it expecting that? Prop pack loading driver. Ah, okay. I need to change this to a array as well instead of a set. Totally fine. Okay, still have some more bugs. Cannot convert argument 2. Okay, let's see what that's all about. On line 53, prompt loader, load prompt packs, mock situation prompt picker. Okay. Mock prompt paths, mock prompt picker. Oh, okay. I need to add these ampersands in front of it. I'd explain why, but it's very boring, but basically because there's a asterisk here, I need to put an ampersand here. Okay, everything succeeded. Let's see if the tests run. So this picked up that I have a new test. It didn't run it. I don't really know why. The first time I write a new test, it never actually runs it. Okay, and we can see that that test passed. But there's something I didn't do yet. So I'm gonna pull up the console version of the tests, and it's giving me a bunch of errors. And I can fix those errors in a really straightforward manner. See to get what I'm looking for. Okay, we're gonna do what's called allow leak, which is usually not a good thing, but because I'm unit testing on real code, which is generally speaking, if you ask somebody if it was possible to even do what I'm doing, 99% of Unreal developers would tell you no. But I figured out how to do it, because I'm awesome. Okay, let's just do a couple of things. So this is just saying when the method is done, go ahead and verify that it actually ran these expectations. Let's run it all again. Okay, let's see it. All green, perfect. And let's just run all the codes, or all the tests. Great, 19 of them passed. Okay, awesome. There's a little bit more in-depth stuff I can do with this test, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to want to come back to it. So I'm going to leave it to do comment to myself here. And later on, when I'm looking through the code base and I don't know where I've left off on certain things, I can just do Control F basically through my code base and look for every to-do comment, and then we'll I'll find the things that I didn't get around to doing, and I can work on it later. So I'm gonna say verify that enabled metadata is actually processed for the specific paths. So one thing I'm not doing is I'm not loading up any test data to actually check this specific part of it. It's running, but I'm not actually doing anything to verify that it's doing the right stuff. And I don't care about doing that right now, so I'm not gonna. Okay, there we go. So that's a unit test. Let's write some more interesting stuff now. So players are going to want to be able to enable their they're gonna want to be able to enable their I saved my artwork from the Let's Draw session that I did yesterday, so you can see my my fan art of Fall Guys if Shrek was a costume in Fall Guys. Fantastic stuff. All right, and I guess this is the folder that I got dumped into. Okay, where was I? Let's go to the main menu. And I need to... Let's not do that yet, because that's going to be a pain in the ass. I'm going to work up to that. What I'm going to do instead is we need to start building up the stuff that the user interface is going to be relying on. So, basically there's going to be a folder that is going to consist of a bunch of JSON files, basically, that are going to just be things like, if I just say open this up, for example, this is a test prompt back, and it's going to have basically pointers to other files within it. So the user interface is going to need to have some code in it where it scans this directory, because there could be like 4 or 5 of these, right? It needs to scan this directory and download all of them, and then it needs to check, it needs to like, okay, what's the name of all these things? What's the icon to display on our user interface? So we need to build that code up. So that's what we're gonna do. And to start off with that, let's just keep putting it in here. I'm gonna move it later, but for now, let's say we want to do, let's check also, maybe I want to make sure I haven't already done some work on this thing. Okay, prompt back manifest loader. Okay, cool. So I've already done a little bit of this. Nice, nice. Okay. So I've already written some code that does the work of opening up this file and parsing it to some degree, but I haven't written the code that like goes through like listing the directory to get all of those files in one place. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually start working on that. We'll call that prompt pack manifest loading driver. And a driver class is basically just a class that doesn't really do anything in terms of data processing. It just links a bunch of stuff together. So it's going to be loading a bunch of stuff from that directory and then feeding it into some other class that actually does the real processing under the hood. Okay, I need to close out this, close Visual Studio for a second. Generate the files so that it, oh, hang on, there's another thing they needed to do. Need to prepare the test class for it as well. What did I just call it? Prompt back manifest loading driver. Okay. Yeah. So under my tests. Okay. Good. Let's generate the project files for it again. Great. Should be all set up now. I'm wrong. It wasn't ready. I opened the... Oh, let's see what happens. It should be fine. I opened Visual Studio sooner than I should have. There was something else running in the background. Let's hope that it didn't mess everything up. Okay, driver, loading driver. Okay, those look good. Compact loading, manifest loading driver, and then do I have my test file set up yet? Compact manifest loading driver. Okay, let's do it. So under the manifest loading driver, let's start writing some code. So boilerplate stuff. Prompt generated class. What is this API called? It's this one. I don't think I've actually... This song from Chrono Trigger, I don't think I've ever actually heard. Either that or it is just very, very unremarkable, and I've never remembered the fact that I've heard it before. Oh! That's the intro to Frog's theme. Okay, this is one of the sickest songs in the entire soundtrack. Okay, manifest loading driver. Alright. So this is gonna need a couple of things. It's gonna need a file manager, which is the class here that does... What am I looking for? We have things like iterate directory. So those are the methods that will list every file in the directory. Alright. We'll go... I don't think I can make that a property, so I'm not going to. But what I can do... Manifest loading driver. I'm gonna probably go ahead and just stash the string that points me to the directory in here. So we'll call it manifest dir. And then what we'll need is the manifest loader. The song reminds you of Cosmo Canyon. That's cool. I never really made that connection in my mind. It kind of has some similarities. Okay. I got distracted by the songs. Okay. So we have prompt pack manifest loading driver. We're going to need a prompt pack manifest loader. Okay, and then file manager, that's going to be a pain in the ass, but I know how I'll deal with that later. Okay, I think this is basically all I need. I need something that loads, and then I need someplace to store this data. So we're gonna say, we're gonna return a, int 32, explain why. So we're gonna create a function, virtual int 32, and what's this thing gonna be called? It's gonna be called load all manifests. So we're going to take a array of prompt schema, prompt pack manifests. Okay, so you feed us an array of manifests, and we will load that shit up with all of the manifests that we're able to find in that directory. Okay, so that's our header file. Compact manifest loading driver. That file. Okay. We're going to be defining methods in prompt pack manifest loading driver. That header. This is an int32. And then we'll go over here. There are keyboard shortcuts to do this. I don't know them, and I'm just fast enough to just do it with all copying and pasting instead, so that's what I do. Okay, I'm gonna copy and paste some code that I wrote elsewhere, because it shouldn't be there. Okay, manifest loader, get rid of that. Okay, so what do we have in our loading driver? We have the manifest directory, we have a file manager, we have the manifest loader. This should be enough. So first thing we're going to do is I need to take the manifest directory and I need to create the path, which is the, C/program file / whatever. So we'll call this manifest directory absolute path. Relative path to full, combine project directory with manifest directory, and then we have the file manager. We find the files. What does this do again? Wrong thing. Okay. Find files. Okay. This is the one that I want. Do I want to do it recursively? No. No, we're not going to do it recursively. Okay, so we pass in extension. That's probably an optional value, and then directory is the path. Okay. So we are going to create an array of strings, which is called manifest files, and then find files, we'll say manifest files, and then we're going to pass in the directory. So our file manager finds all the files and then loads them into this array of strings. Having done that, let's go to my header, check what I have. Okay, so I have prompt pack manifest loader. Under prompt pack manifest loader, what have I done there? So I can do get prompt pack manifest. Okay, and that might fail. This path, prompt pack manifest. Okay. So let's check something real quick. So find files returns voids. That's actually kind of bad. That's not super helpful. So I don't know if there's a really easy way for me to tell when this process breaks. Like, for example, if this directory doesn't exist, it looks like the file manager isn't gonna tell me something, isn't gonna tell me that it doesn't exist. So one thing I'm going to check, I'm going to do directory exists first. So let's do that. Bool directory exists is equal to file manager directory exists. And that just takes the directory. Okay. Okay, so if the directory doesn't exist, I'm gonna go ahead and log. I'm gonna log an error, and we're gonna say text, something like unable to load prompt manifest directory, and I would probably want to add the name of the directory itself. So to do that, you do, I think it's %s, and then I believe that I would just do that. So the directory doesn't exist, we log it, we return -1, and then eventually I can report that error back to the player and say, hey, you tried to load a invalid directory. I'm gonna go ahead and run the tests. This is a very clean compact manifest loader. I see. I forgot to include some of my dependencies. Okay, core minimal, and then I need HL file manager, and then I need this one, prompt manifest loader. Cool, I'm really glad that the Chrono Trigger soundtrack includes this non-song song twice back to back. That's really rad and not annoying at all. Okay. Prompt manifest loading. Okay, this file needs to be renamed. I'm not going to do that right now, though, but I'll remember to do that shortly once I have all this code written down. So if the directory doesn't exist, we log that it wasn't able to work. We return -1. Compact manifest loading driver is not a class or namespace because I didn't put a U in front of it. Okay. Makes sense. So I found all the files, and then it's pretty straightforward at this point. We're just gonna say for every, this doesn't make any reason to use auto there. For every manifest file in the manifest files, what does this guy do again? Okay, manifest loader. No, wrong thing. IntelliSense sucks. This is the worst IDE. It never really does what I want it to do. Prompt manifest loader. Get prompt manifest. I give it a path and a prompt manifest to fill in. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do array of string. No. Okay, so we already have that. Perfect. We're gonna create a prompt manifest, and we're gonna say okay, we're going to create the prompt manifest, and in the loader we're going to say for the manifest file, I want you to load this. I want you to load into this manifest the contents of the manifest file. And I called that get prompt manifest. Okay. Excuse me. Let me get some water. So this can also fail. Pretty straightforward why it could fail would be if the manifest can't be parsed or something like that. So I need to also check manifest parsed. If directory exists is equal to 0. So if manifest parsed is equal to 0, meaning that it's successfully parsed, then we say prop pack manifest. We're gonna go ahead and add this manifest because hey, it worked. All good. We return 0, indicating that we succeeded at loading this thing. If it turns out that the manifest didn't parse, then we're going to log that. But I'm not going to log it at the error level. I'm just going to log it at the warning level instead. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the program should crash if a single file doesn't work. Like, we should just kind of bubble that information up. But, obviously, if all the prompt packs don't load, then the game can't continue. But if some of them load and some of them don't, like, it's not the end of the world. You can just go forward with whatever did load. So we're gonna say unable to load prompt pack manifest. I was gonna say which file it was. Nice and happy there. If I wanted to be really sophisticated, what I would do is I would return the number of manifests that loaded instead of just 0, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't care. Okay, so we did that. Let's go ahead and check that the code compiles. Too many arguments for macro-like invocation. I'm assuming I messed up this syntax, unsurprisingly. Logging stuff in Unreal is super finicky. Okay, warning. I said it's supposed to be warning instead of the word warn. Great. Okay, awesome. So this is all pretty straightforward. Now, the test that I wrote earlier was super boring. This test is going to be a lot more intricate and interesting because there's a lot of ways it can simulate things breaking catastrophically, and we're gonna end up testing all of those, and it's gonna be really cool. So I'm gonna pull this code off to another window. I'm going to prop pack manifest loading driver. Let's start writing a test for it. Test H. And I hope people can see that I'm able to work significantly faster than I used to be able to work on this project, because doing things like with this test process where I'm not having to test anything in the editor is like dramatically more straightforward. God, this is so much simpler. Okay, so I'm testing this class to do the testing of this class. Manifest loading driver, that's the name of the thing I'm testing. We need these 3 dependencies. I'm gonna pull this off to the side. Monitor number 5. I do have 5 monitors. I would send you pictures, but I don't think anyone actually cares. The file manager. I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste something. Where is it hiding? File manager mock. I need this entire thing. Great. Prop Talkback manifest loading driver. So I'm going to create my fake file manager. We have two methods that we were going to be interested in mocking today. We have finding all the files, and the next thing we want to do is we need to mock what's the other one? It's directory exists. God, I love the soundtrack. Lava's theme, hell yeah. Okay, so this is just that. Right. Okay, and this gigantic chunk of code, I'm gonna just minimize it. We never need to look at it again, thank God. It's disgusting and huge, and I didn't write it. Somebody else wrote it, wasn't me. I'm not shitposting, by the way. Somebody else did actually legitimately write that. Include prompt pack manifest loader. Include HAL file manager. And I think that's all I need. Great. Class prompt pack file loader. Mock. And then the other thing we need is the driver to test. I'll call that class. Driver test. And then I need to pull something from another class real quick. This stuff. I didn't know that this was part of Lavos' theme either. This is very interesting. There's a lot of stuff in the soundtrack that I didn't actually know existed, despite the fact that I listened to it a lot. Maybe the, either I skipped through all the dialogue a lot faster when I was a kid, or this is like an extended edition of the, really fucking awesome soundtrack that is the Chrono Trigger soundtrack. Initializer. Kind of want to put on like a live orchestral version of this because I'm sure those exist. Two. So I need this, which I'm just gonna move over here. Knock. Yes, we'll fix that typo. Hey, mock file manager. Alrighty. What am I doing now? We need our fake prompt pack manifest loader. I call it mock. Alright. That. F object. And then I needed this guy. The driver. F object 2. There we go. All is good now. I'm going to inject the file manager is equal to the signed. I shouldn't say is equal to, I should say it's assigned, because that's what a real computer scientist would call it, but eh. As far as I know, there aren't any real computer scientists anywhere around here. So the file manager, we have the loader. Okay. All looks good. And then the other thing that we do... Okay, we'll worry about that later. Let's just quickly check everything. Notice any syntax errors, if there are any. Load function differs only by return type from bool. I'm guessing that this is supposed to be a Boolean as opposed to a void. Alright. Let's try again. Directory exists, member function already defined or declared. A little weird. Oh, I should get rid of the override thing here. Okay. Because I'm not actually overriding a function by doing that. Okay, Boolean. Member function already defined or declared, so I'm still doing something wrong. Find files. This is super dumb. I think I know what I need to do. Let's try this. Mock file. Okay, this should be good. And then I get rid of that. And then I need to actually move these classes up here because C++ is an old ass language and you can't reference something. You can't. If I had left that down here, I would have gotten the compiler. I got the compiler to complain because it got to this line gosh. It got to this line before it got to this line, and because this line references that line, the compiler complained. So I have to move it up there. Pretty weird, but actually totally makes sense. For reasons that are really boring, so I'm not going to explain it right now. Because I'd have to explain the history of computer science as it starts from like the 80s or the 70s, which I'm not doing. Okay, can't convert from Poppack Manifest Loader Mock. Exists but isn't accessible because I forgot to make these public. Public. Okay, it succeeded. Now let's start writing a actually interesting and useful set of tests. So we're gonna call this manifest loading. We're gonna do test. So what are the error cases? Let me pull this up. We have a couple error cases that I need to simulate. The first one is the directory doesn't exist, so we're gonna start with that one. How come computer scientists don't have to publish research like all the other scientists? Because computer scientists end up working for Amazon instead, so instead of publishing research, they publish money. Okay. Directory doesn't exist. Okay. So we're going to just say expect call. We're going to say that the mock file manager, we're going to say directory exists. And for now, I'm going to just borrow, again, the underscore thing while I work on this. So we're going to say no matter what, no matter what directory you look for, we're going to pretend that none of them exist at all. So the file manager, you're going to say, is going to repeatedly return false. And this is the magic. This is what I've been building up to right here. The thing about this that kicks ass is to test what happens when the game tries to open up a directory that doesn't exist. I don't need to start the game up, run this code, manually delete the directory, see what happens, then create the directory and test it again to see what happens. I don't need to do that. I can do it right here instead, and that is pretty phenomenal in my opinion. So we're gonna say we're gonna load the array, and the previous test that I was working on didn't get nearly that cool because they didn't handle nothing could really go wrong with that code, so there was nothing to really test that was very interesting. But here, who the hell knows? We're trusting that the user didn't delete all their files on accident. We publish money sounds right on brand for Amazon. Hell yeah, it is. Oh, God. So uncomfortable. Okay, so we're gonna say int 32 results. So we're gonna, so this test will only pass if the result is -1. So the only way that logically we can arrive at this happening is if it calls the mock file manager, the file manager says, hey, this directory doesn't exist, the method returns -1, and if it does all of that, then the test passes, proving that this code can indeed handle gracefully when shit explodes. And that's the beauty of unit testing. Time to find out that I made a syntax error. Let's see it. Okay, syntax error, line 86. I forgot to... Procpack manifest loading driver test. Okay. So I forgot to actually call the function. I just put dot and then an open semicolon. Did I just program an error message? Yep. I don't know whether that sounds, to me that sounds as cool as all hell. I don't know if that is cool or not, but I just programmed a simulation of the game effectively crashing. And now I get to test that when this happens, it won't crash. Okay, it is now running. Test doesn't run yet. We'll run it again, and for whatever reason, I don't know, whatever reason, the first time I run anything, it first time I ever write a new test, it fails, or it fails to run it. So it says that this failed, but it didn't give me any reason why. Sometimes it'll do that. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna run the executable. So I expected it to return -1. It didn't. It returned 0. So the code in this case, even though we're testing an error case, attempted to continue as if it didn't fail, which is bad. So this is why we try to test these things. So directory exists, I say it returns false. In my code, I say if directory exists is not equal to 0, and I don't think that that's correct. I should say if not directory exists. Let's try this. Okay. Yep, I was comparing true or false to the number 0. doesn't... debatable what the hell that means. But cool. Alright, so now I simulated that it does indeed, if it tries to read a directory that doesn't exist, instead of continuing, it just immediately errors out and gives an error message. Perfect. Let's test the next thing. Okay. So I'm gonna say now that the directory does exist. So our next bit of code that we're interested in is file manager finding the files. I'm gonna just move this down here because it's a little bit cleaner. All right. So to begin with, I'm just going to test that it attempts to find the files. So we're going to do another thing. Expect call mock file manager find files. And we're going to say, again, I don't actually care about this value yet. I will later. And I don't care about this value yet either. I will later. Will repeatedly let's not worry about it for right now. We'll fill this in a second with more details, but I'm just going to get to this point. And we're going to say, hey, we don't need to find all the files. Test directory is empty. So when the manifest directory is empty, that's fine, right? Like, it's not an error case. It just means like, hey, we tried to find the prom packs, we didn't find any, but like there could have been some. So in that case, we're gonna return 0 because that's okay. We that's not really an error situation. So we'll see what happens now. I pressed the wrong button, so it didn't actually run the test like I wanted it to. So we'll do that. Okay, that passed. So when the directory exists, it's perfectly happy to return 0 to us. Great. Next up, let's do a third test here. Test directory contains prompt pack, contains manifests. So now we're gonna get a lot more interesting stuff here. So we're gonna say, what do I want to do? So there's a couple things I can do that will work pretty cool here. So one thing I'm gonna start off with is I'm gonna say we're gonna create an array called fake manifest files. It's gonna be an array of strings. I'm gonna say fake manifest files dot add, and we're gonna just feed in fake manifest file. All right. Will once. Actually, we'll just do will repeatedly. Doesn't matter at all. Because we should only call this function once anyway. All right. How do I do this? I don't remember the syntax for what I'm looking for. Something like this. So I just pass in a lambda. Okay, I can work with that. So, on the mock file manager, we're just gonna say, you're gonna give me a T array of manifest files, and you're also gonna give me a pointer manifest directory. And when you do that, what I'm going to do in response is I'm going to just say, I'm going to go ahead and just add, I'm going to add a fake manifest file. Okay, and then we're going to do another expectation where we say there was another thing that I faked up here called Specchio's theme. Yeah. Manifest loader. Okay, so now the manifest loader, we're gonna say we expect one, so you're gonna call get prompt pack manifest, and we're going to expect that you're attempting to load this specific file, and if it attempts to load anything else, then it will fail. So now I'm pretending that a directory does exist. I'm pretending that when you list the files in that directory, you get back this file, and then I'm expecting that you're gonna load that file into our, into a thing. For now, I'll just leave that as a blank as well. And if none of this happens, then the test fails. So now, not only am I testing all of the error cases, I'm now testing the expectation of like what it should do when it goes well. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Probably some syntax errors will pop up. It always does. Okay. Get prompt pack manifest is not a member. And that's because I forgot to basically mark that, what did I call it? Prompt pack manifest loader. Forgot to say that this function is something that I can fake. So I just add this little line up here, and this does all of the magic written by my good friends over at Google, where they allow me to do all this cool shit in the first place. And now I've said that, yes, this is a function that I want to be able to make fake calls against. Okay, override does not override any base class members. Prompt pack manifest loader. This needs to be virtual. Bunch of error messages popped up. Prompt pack manifest loading driver. Cannot convert const car to that thing. Don't know what that means. Oh, I actually know what that means. Wait, no, I don't. Okay, on line 115. Okay. This is actually pretty straightforward. So I think the unit test code is a little bit buggy because, well, it's not buggy, it's just a little bit, it's just a little, finicky because I'm doing stuff that Unreal really does not expect me to be capable of doing. This whole thing of like mocking expectations and simulating these error messages, not something that the Unreal Engine expects you to ever do. But I'm gonna do it because fuck them. Okay, let's see what happens. Test case is passed. Great. So I simulated that a directory exists, contains this one file. I made the expectation that you have loaded that file, and then I ran it, and then it returned 0. Exactly what we wanted. Okay. Let's do some... we could do some kind of cool stuff. One thing I'm going to do next is I'm also going to say I expect that the array that I sent in, it should contain one item. Because it could be that this passed just because, like, hey, we loaded the prompt pack and it succeeded, but we didn't actually, like, do anything with it. We just opened up the file. But this way, I am now testing, like, hey, did you actually load this file up? And we can see that I actually didn't do that. There was a bug there. So I have a suspicion that the manifest, this method, it needs to return 0. Will repeatedly return 0. Hello, Ethan. Hope you're having a good evening. Alright, let's see what happens now. Ah, there's still a bug. Okay, great. So I'm gonna pull some more code in real quick. Just from another test class that I've written. That will help me figure this out. Wrong thing. We need that. Pack manifest loading driver. And then need that. Okay, we're gonna say that it's okay to leak the file manager, and we're gonna say that it's okay to leak manifest loader. And say okay to do that. Alright. Let's run this again. See what the error message is. This is 0. Okay, I'm gonna run it from the shell now. Okay, we're looking for under contains manifest. This is the code, and the actual function call doesn't match the expected call. To be called once, never called. 123. So this... What? Okay, well anyway, it's looking for mock file manager. It's looking for something called find. Actual function call doesn't match. The expected call is on the mock file manager. We expected to call find files. And it didn't. And I think I know why. I think I need to add that for whatever reason. Okay. What am I looking for? Find files. Okay, okay. So we're gonna save this. I would explain what I'm doing here, but it's probably really boring and complicated, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. Okay. This is what's called a default arguments are not allowed in this symbol. On line 49. This might be a problem. I'm not going to worry about it at the moment, but it might be a problem. Okay. Matcher. You have no going on but like the fun colors. Yeah, that's a lot of what this is like. There's a lot of fun colors too. Look at all these fun colors. These are all friends. I hate them all. These all suck so much. Okay, so oh god, this is gonna be a pain. Here. I'm gonna try this as well. It might be a requirement. Let's see what happens now. Okay, on line 98. Syntax error. Okay, I have an extra... Okay, all I had was an extra parentheses there. Oh god, I hope this works. No. 115. Oh, okay. Hang on. I can work with this. Oh god, this might work. Oh, this might work. Okay. This works, I'm gonna be super stoked. Yes! Okay. That's crazy. Alright. That's nuts. So, this class that comes from Unreal, find files, it has a default argument. So, if you look in the code that I wrote, I never specified that third argument, so C++ just kind of put in this default one for me. So even though it looks like I'm only passing in 2 values to this method call, I was actually passing in 3. So that got really, really weird because I didn't know how well the mocking framework was going to handle that sort of fake, like that sort of implied third parameter that was getting like slid on in there. It looks like that still didn't work though, so I got that going for me, which is nice. Okay, let's run it through the shell. That'll give me a little bit more useful information. Once it's done building. Okay. Alrighty. Contains manifests. So I'm expecting it to contain 1. It still says it's returning 0. One thing I'm gonna do that's a little bit weird is I'm gonna modify... I'm gonna just pull this over. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna do that then. Now you could do what's called breakpoints, where you run your code and you stop executing it at certain points and you can kind of see like what the state of it is. I'm not gonna do that. It's too hard. So what I'm gonna do instead is way shittier and way stupider and way more embarrassing than I'm even gonna do it this way, but it's way easier. So I'm gonna return -1 here. So basically, if I'm testing, by doing this, I'm gonna find out whether or not it's actually going into this loop. Because as soon as it goes into the loop, it'll return -1, which means that this line will fail. It's a really... well... it's certainly an approach. Okay. So it did actually add the, it did go into the loop, which is good. I'm going to try here now. My assumption is that, I need to probably add a return value to this thing. Okay. So I'm gonna do this really, really hacky test one more time. All right. I'm not even going to explain what this was. I'm not going to explain why adding this ampersand fixed that test case. It's too annoying for me to explain why adding that ampersand fixed the test case. Anyway, so great. Our tests work, so now we can definitively say that we have we've tested everything up until the case where the prompt pack manifest loader fails to parse the prompt pack manifest, and when that happens, this should return something other than 0. So we will do that with another call here. I'm gonna probably, yeah, I'll just copy and paste this all into its own test. So now we're gonna add fake manifest file. So all this is gonna be the same up until, I'm also just actually gonna get rid of this code because it's useless in the end. Delete that, not referencing it else anywhere. Okay, so we add fake manifest file. We then expect to call fake manifest file. And now we're going to return -1. So not much is going to change, except we're going to still succeed. But the number of prompt pack manifests that were successfully loaded should be 0 this time, because it attempted to load this one and it failed, according to our simulation. I need to change the name. Contains unparsable manifest. Okay, let's run the test. And it passed. So that definitively proves, well, at least as far as I'm concerned, that we can scan through a directory of all the prompt pack manifests. We have to assume if the we can, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I've tested, you know, if the directory doesn't exist, the program doesn't explode, it just returns -1 instead. I tested, hey, the directory is empty, but that's fine. I tested the directory had something in it, and it was easy to parse. I tested that it didn't parse. The point is, everything is good, everything is simulated, and theoretically, unless there's something I didn't account for, the program should not crash during anywhere in this logic. Took a while to get there, but that's you know, that's how you write software. At least that's how you write software that doesn't explode and end up being this buggy piece of shit mess all the time. And that is a glimpse into what it's like to be a high level like professional is you have to do these sorts of simulations, and you write your code, and then you write simulations against your code that run automatically to assert that it all works correctly. So I have one thing here, compact delayed driver test, 57. There's one thing I didn't do, which is probably something kind of dumb. Mock file manager can be leaked. Manifest loader can be leaked. Is there something I didn't do right? You're starting up a project, you're a fairly new C++ programmer, is it bad to be using namespace standard? Yeah, I guess so. I almost honestly can't tell if you're trolling. But, like, assuming that you're not trolling me, yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't be using namespace. You probably shouldn't be using any... You probably should just never, these two words, you probably should just never type them. Whether it's standard or, you can trust me, this namespace is good. Nope, you can't, you shouldn't. That's also a liar. The reason for that, you are really new. Okay, cool. Well, enjoy your journey into the, jankiest language I can think of. So, the reason you don't want to use the namespaces is because, so I am using I'm not using a namespace here, but I'm pulling this in. What I could do instead is I could use namespace testing instead of these two lines. And basically what that would end up doing is it would pull in everything under this namespace, even though I'm only actually using these two. So when you use namespaces, you are kind of getting like the whole toolbox, right? If that makes sense. Whereas when you're not using namespaces, it's just kind of like you're reaching into the toolbox and you're pulling out the specific thing that you actually need. There's a number of arguments one way or the other about like maybe other things that are problematic about that. But from my perspective as like a very kind of high standard engineering sort of point of view, it does just kind of boil down to only grab what you need. It's basically my feelings on it. But I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want. Okay, there's still one last thing that's bothering me here. I'm not gonna worry about it too much because I think I know what the issue is, and I know that it's this error message is being overly sensitive. So I'll just hunt down what that issue actually is later. But I think our journey for the evening is basically done. But yeah, that's the code for loading a bunch of stuff from the hard drive and ensuring that it doesn't crash. Cool stuff. You use it a lot in college. Yeah, I mean, college is what it is. Obviously, like, I mean, for better or worse, a lot of educational, you smash that follow. Hell yeah, you hit that bell. You gonna, like, send me some bits and shit. I mean, yeah, like with college, you know, they're gonna, it is what it is. It does simplify some things to do that because a lot of the assignments that they're going to give you are going to be using the standard library. So, I don't know, in a lot of textbooks, like have that as part of their pedagogy, like teaching you that way. But I mean, in the professional world, you know, you're gonna like not use it at all. My understanding, you know, what I did when I was in college, when I was learning this, was the people who were doing the grading were generally really, really good programmers already. And so if I did things that like, I mean, I didn't do anything like this with C++ because I didn't take a C++ class, I did Java. But if I were to have done C++ assignments in college, I would have decided to not use that, and it wouldn't have counted against me, because the people that were doing the grading, the TAs and all those people, they would just be like, they would just kind of be like, it works, and also, like, we know that in the real world, you wouldn't do it this way, so they're not going to really care one way or the other. The reason I'm saying that, though, is because I feel like if you wanted to, you could avoid doing that the way that they're teaching you, because they're teaching you wrong. You could just start not doing it, and I think that you would, you'd be able to build up good habits, and I don't think it would impact your grades at all or anything like that. So you should probably, as part of your assignments, you can probably just like disregard using namespace standard. Anyway, I gotta go. But thank you all for dropping by. I hope that this was fun, informative, or some approximation thereof. But y'all have yourselves good nights, and hope you enjoyed your Labor Days.